I never thought dying would feel like waking up in someone else's skin, my husband's, to be exact, sagging and whiskey-scarred from decades of bad decisions I never signed up for. The surgeons at that black market clinic in Jersey swore the neural transfer would be seamless, a consciousness bridge funded by my late father's shady biotech patents, but all I got was his arthritic knees and a lifetime of regrets echoing in my skull like bad acid reflux. And the real kicker? I'd swapped places just in time to watch my own body, cold, blue-lipped, and suicided by overdose, get lowered into the ground, while the woman who'd orchestrated it all, my daughter-in-law Tessa, preened like she'd won the goddamn lottery. It started 6 months ago, back when life in our Greenwich Village brownstones still smelled like fresh croissants from the corner boulangerie and the faint tang of my essential oils. I was Lydia Hargrove, 52, the kind of New York wife who'd traded her gallery curator dreams for propping up Victor's crumbling ad agency ego. Victor, God, even his name sounded like a punchline, was 15 years my senior, a silver fox gone to seed, nursing scotch like it was mother's milk while I handled the boardroom battles he was too sloshed to fight. We had no kids of our own, just his son from his first marriage, Ethan, who married Tessa 3 years back in a Vegas fever dream that cost me 6 figures to clean up.
Tessa.
Christ, where to start with that one? She slithered into our lives like a designer knockoff, blonde, Pilates-toned, with a law degree from Fordham and ambitions that could choke a horse. Ethan was smitten, the poor sap, seeing in her the step up from his trust fund slacker days.
Me?
I saw the hustle from day one. The way she'd accidentally bump into Victor at agency happy hours, her laugh too loud, her hand lingering on his arm. But I played nice because family, right? That's what we do in this city, swallow the bile and keep the facade glossy. The betrayal hit like a freight train on a rainy Tuesday in May. I'd come home early from a client lunch in Soho, my Louboutins clicking on the herringbone floors, only to find the study door ajar. Whispers, then a gasp. Victor's voice, gravelly and urgent. "We can't keep doing this, Tess. Lydia suspects." Her reply, silk over steel. "Let her suspect. By fall it'll be over. The agency's hers on paper, but we both know who's really running it. You and me, want she's. Out of the picture. Out of the picture." I'd stood there, frozen, my Birkin slipping from numb fingers, as the pieces clicked. The anonymous tips to the board about embezzlement, all traced back to dummy accounts I'd unknowingly authorized. Tessa had been siphoning funds, framing me as the kleptomaniac, wife propping up her husband's failures. And Victor? Complicit, the coward, trading his spine for her bedroom promises. But the secret they'd buried deeper than that? The real crime. 2 years prior, Tessa had botched a hostile takeover at her old firm, cooking books, bribing regulators, the works. Federal heat came down, and who'd taken the heat?
Me.
Victor pulled strings with my father's old cronies, pinned the audit discrepancies on my oversight as agency CFO. I did 18 months in white-collar purgatory at Alderson, emerging with a felony record that killed my career, while she waltzed into our family unscathed. I confronted them that night, over a dinner of chilled salmon that tasted like ash. "I know," I said, voice steady as the Hudson in winter. Victor blanched, fork clattering. Tessa just arched a brow, sipping her Pinot like it was communion wine. "Know what, Lydia? That your little prison stint was a speed bump." She leaned in, eyes gleaming. "Victor's right. We're the future. You're yesterday's news." Ethan walked in mid-tirade, oblivious, and I saw it then. The fracture. My stepson, the one good thing in this mess, staring at his wife like she'd grown horns. That's when I decided. Revenge wasn't a word for debutantes, it was a blueprint. I'd always known about Daddy's patents, the neural mapping tech he'd shelved after FDA pushback, calling it Frankenstein's folly. But in the underbelly of Newark's warehouse district, there were docs who'd make it sing for the right price. $500,000 from my secret offshore account, funds Tessa thought she'd drained, and I had my ticket. The procedure, a full consciousness upload, bridging my neural net into Victor's husk while his got shunted into cold storage, or so they promised. Reversible, the quack in the stained lab coat assured, but effective. You'll walk in his shoes, literally. The swap happened at dawn, sirens wailing in the distance like omens. Waking up, God, the disorientation. His heart stuttering under my command, his liver protesting the fresh commands. I stumbled to the mirror, saw his jolly face staring back, and nearly retched. But power surged through me. Access to his voice, his fingerprints, his goddamn empire. Victor's essence, they cryogenic froze in a canister, labeled as specimen, a vegetative puppet if I ever needed leverage. Tessa thought I'd OD'd on the Xanax she'd been lacing my coffee with for weeks, staging it as despair over the embezzlement probe. Autopsy? A clean, thanks to her insider at the coroner's office. Funeral was a circus. Black limos snaking through Riverside Park, eulogies from phonies who'd never set foot in my home. Now, 6 months on, here we were, the will reading in a stuffy midtown firm, all walnut panels and the faint scent of Cuban cigars. I'd insisted on it as Victor, hobbling in on his cane, the one he'd used since his hip surgery lie. Ethan slouched in the corner, hollow-eyed from grief he didn't fake. Tessa, radiant in scarlet sheath, legs crossed like she owned the joint. The lawyer, a weasel named Hargrove, no relation, thank Christ, cleared his throat, spectacles glinting. Lydia's estate, per her directives. He droned on about the brownstone, the Warhol in the attic, the agency shares. Tessa's foot tapped, impatient, her smirk blooming as he hit the kicker. All assets to Victor Hargrove, in perpetuity, with a codicil excluding any marital interlopers. Interlopers. I'd scripted that one myself, forging her prenup addendum in Victor's looping scrawl. Her head snapped up. What the hell? Ethan, this is bullshit. She promised me the agency stake. Ethan blinked, murmuring apologies. I just watched, savoring the vein pulsing in her temple. Finally, she hissed under her breath, but loud enough for the room, leaning back with that cat that ate the canary grin. The old bat's gone, and now we take what's ours. The lawyer paused, folder trembling slightly. Mrs. Hargrove, Ms. Reynolds, there's an addendum. Sealed, to be read post-distribution. Her eyes narrowed, but she waved him on, arrogance intact. I gripped the cane tighter, my Victor's knuckles widening. This was it. The hook I'd sunk deep. He broke the wax seal, voice cracking like dry leaves. To Tessa Reynolds, for services rendered in the dissolution of my marriage, namely, the adulterous affair with my husband and the orchestration of my demise, you are hereby bequeathed nothing but this, the truth. Gasps rippled. Ethan bolted upright. What truth? Dad, what is this? I stood then, shedding the cane like snakeskin, voice steady in Victor's timbre, but laced with my old fire. The truth, son, is that your wife killed me. Laced my coffee with fentanyl patches ground fine. Framed your father for the embezzlement she engineered, using my accounts to cover her old firm sins. I took the fall for her, did time in federal lockup, while she played house. Tessa laughed, sharp as shattered glass. You're delusional, Victor. Grief's addled you. This is slander. I'll sue you into the gutter. But I wasn't done. I nodded to the lawyer, who cued the projector. Grainy footage flickered. Our study, that rainy Tuesday. Her whispers to Victor, clear as a bell. Cut to newer clinic logs, time-stamped transfers from her Cayman slush fund to the disposal quack. Then the crown jewel, Victor's frozen canister, live feed from the lab, his eyes fluttering in cryogenic limbo, a tube snaking down his throat. You see, I said, stepping into the light, Lydia didn't die. Not really. She just relocated. I ripped off the wig, my old chignon, salt and pepper, and peeled the latex jowls, revealing the face beneath. Mine, preserved by black market stem cells, grafted over Victor's frame in the weeks post-funeral. The room spun into chaos, Ethan retching into a waste bin, the lawyer fumbling for his phone, Tessa's face draining to ash. You bitch, she whispered, lunging, but security, my hires, pinned her.
How?
This isn't possible. Science, darling.
And spite.
Daddy's patents, your greed. Perfect storm. Sirens wailed outside. The feds I'd tipped anonymously en route for the murder rap. The fraud. The works. Controversial? Hell yes. Body swapping a dead woman into her husband's shell. Playing God with neural voodoo. But in America, where billionaires cheat death with cryonics and politicians swap truths like trading cards, who was I to judge? As they cuffed her, mascara rivers down her cheeks, I leaned close. Finally, I echoed, soft as venom. Your turn to rot. But revenge, they say, is a dish best served cold, and mine was Arctic. Ethan stared, betrayal etching lines deeper than his 20s warranted. Mom? Is that you? I nodded, throat tight. In a manner of speaking, kiddo. Now, let's get your father thawed. Some mistakes we fix. The chopper waited on the helipad, New York sprawling below like a glittering trap. Freedom tasted like jet fuel and second chances, but the twist lingered. Victor's mind, if it woke, would remember everything. My hands in his office drawers, my lips on Tessa's secrets. Would he thank me, or damn me as the monster? In this city of swapped identities, Wall Street wolves in sheep's clothing, influencers peddling lies as gospel, the line blurred. And as we lifted off, I wondered, who is the villain now? Ethan's hand trembled on the chopper door as we touched down in the Pine Barrens, the lab's floodlights cutting through Jersey fog like accusatory fingers. Mom, Lydia, this is insane. You're him? How do I even process? His voice cracked, boyish again, the way it did when he'd crashed his first Porsche at 16 and I'd bailed him out with a hug and a lecture. Process later, I snapped, Victor's baritone grating even to me. Cops are 40 minutes out from Midtown. We thaw your old man, then we talk. The facility loomed, a rusting Quonset hut masquerading as a biostorage unit, chain link rattling in the wind off the Mullica River. Inside, the air hummed with coolant coils and the faint ozone whiff of high-voltage regret. Dr. Elena Vasquez met us at the airlock, her lab coat rumpled, eyes bloodshot from the all-nighter I'd demanded. Cuban émigré, ex-DARPA, with a moral compass looser than a Vegas slot. Senora Hargrove, or should I say, Senor? The subject's vitals are spiking. Neural integrity at 87%, risky, but doable. She glanced at Ethan, who paced like a caged ferret. Your call. Do it. I waved her on, settling into the observation booth, monitors flickering with brainwave spaghetti. Victor's canister, frost-rimed, like a villain's trophy, hissed open, vapor coiling like cigarette smoke at a dive bar wake. Tubes retracted, defibrillators whined, his chest heaved, a gasp ripping free. Dad. Ethan lunged, but Vasquez barred him. Victor's eyes, milky, unfocused, locked on mine. No, on his own face staring back. Recognition dawned slow, then exploded. Lydia? What the fuck? My body. You stole my. Easy, Vic borrowed, technically. Sitrep. You're alive because of me. Tessa's in cuffs, feds circling her like sharks on chum. I kept it clipped, New Yorker brisk, but inside, my gut twisted. This shell, his shell, felt heavier by the minute, like wearing a lead overcoat to a cocktail party. He coughed, phlegm flecked with cryo-fluid.
Tessa.
She said you'd snapped the pills. I didn't know. Lies, but the fear was real, pupils dilating like a junkie's first hit. Vasquez pumped him full of synthadrenaline, color returned, but so did the venom. You bitch. This is assault, kidnapping my goddamn soul. Ethan intervened, hands on his father's shoulders. Dad, stop. Mom saved us. Tessa, she poisoned her. Framed her.
Us.
The words hung, familial shrapnel. Victor deflated, glancing between us, his son, his wife in his skin, like we'd morphed into pod people. By dawn, we were wheels up again. Victor bundled in a medevac blanket, muttering about lawyers and annulments. I flew co-pilot, staring at the sunrise gilding the Atlantic, Manhattan spires mocking from afar. Revenge Phase 1, check. But the high faded fast, leaving the uglies, the ethics, the fallout. Was stranding Victor's mind in limbo any better than Tessa's slow poison? Controversial as hell, sure, trading one prison for another, playing eugenics roulette with family bonds. America loved its mad scientists from Oppenheimer to Musk, but when it hit home, pitchforks. Back in the village, the brownstone felt haunted, my perfume ghosts mingling with Victor's aftershave staleness. We holed up, blinds drawn against paparazzi drones buzzing like mechanical hornets. News wires lit up. Ad ex-widow suicides. Husband claims foul play in bizarre twist. Tessa lawyered up fast, her firm spinning it as elderly delusion, but the footage leaked, courtesy of my anonymous drop to Team Z, and public opinion swung wild. Twitter, X, whatever, erupted, body swap scandal trending, half calling me vigilante queen, half screaming Frankenstein fraud. Victor adapted quicker than expected, bunking in the guest suite with Vasquez's homebrew neural stims. Feels like jet lag from hell. He'd grunt over takeout Thai, chopsticks awkward in hands that weren't his. Ethan mediated, the golden boy turned reluctant therapist, but cracks showed. Nights, I'd catch him staring at family photos, me in my wedding gown, Tessa airbrushed to perfection, whiskey bottle half empty. One evening, storm lashing the windows like God's own tantrum, he cornered me in the kitchen. Mom, level with me. Was Dad in on it from the start? The affair, the money, did you swap to punish him too? I poured us scotches, Victor's brand, ironic as sin, and sank onto the island stool, his bad knee protesting. Kiddo, your father's a weak man in a strong man's world. Tessa preyed on that. Flattery. Promises of youth. The agency revived under her vision. He knew about the framed job on me. Turn a blind eye. Complicit, not mastermind. Ethan's jaw clenched, fist curling around the glass. And the swap? That was mercy or insurance. Couldn't trust him not to fold again. He slammed it down, amber sloshing. Mercy? You hijacked his body. What if he wants it back? What if I do? The word stung, raw as road rash. Ethan, my bonus kid, the one I'd rocked through chickenpox and college rejections. Now, he saw the monster. The mother who'd cross lines for justice, blurring victim and villain. Tessa's trial loomed. Arraignment in 2 weeks, Federal Plaza, a media circus. Her power plays ramped. Character witnesses from her sorority days. Motions to suppress the fabricated video. But I had aces. Daddy's patents included off-book surveillance tech. Bugs in her Soho loft capturing pillow talk confessions. Victor's mine. She'd purred to a lover, some junior DA, nights before the suicide. Once she's worm food, we merge firms. No loose ends. I prepped my testimony as Victor. But the real bomb? Vasquez's wild card. A reverse transfer protocol, jury-rigged from scraps. Risky 50-50 neural cascade failure, per her calcs, but it dangled freedom. For who? Victor paced the study, demanding his skin back. I hedged, citing stability concerns. Truth? Power. In his frame, I commanded boardrooms, silenced doubters with his gravitas. Lydia Hargrove, the felon has been? She'd be dismissed as a vengeful ghost. Tension coiled tighter than a G&T on rocks. Ethan split time between us, loyalty fraying. Dinners with Dad devolved to shouts about stolen lives, while my heart-to-hearts circled identity like wary cats. You're still you, he'd say, but his eyes lied, haunted by the what-ifs. Then the leak hit, a whistleblower from the lab, Vasquez's ex, spilling to the Post. Hargrove airs body-snatching horror. Dead wife walks in hubby's hide. Protests erupted outside. Bioethicists chanting souls aren't swappable. MAGA types hailing, deep state, deep freeze. Cops raided the Pine Barren site, but I'd scrubbed it clean, canisters to ash. Victor confronted me that night, rain drumming like indictments. Give it back, Lydia. This ends now. My voice, but weaker. The fight leached out. I studied him, this echo of the man I'd loved once, before the betrayals piled like unread emails. And if I don't, you fold again, Tessa walks. His laugh was bitter, Scotch sour. Maybe I deserve it. But Ethan doesn't. Neither do you. Pause. Thunder rumbling. Do the swap. Tonight. Decision time. Controversial calculus. Reverse. Risk brain melt for a clean slate? Or hold the line. Damn the ethics. Keep the revenge pure? As lightning forked the sky, I nodded. Vasquez. Prep the bridge. The procedure was hell redix. Probes snaking into Victor's borrowed flesh, my mind fracturing like cheap crystal. Ethan watched, tears carving tracks, whispering, "Come back, Mom. Please." Vasquez counted down, monitors screaming symphony. Then snap. Darkness, then light. I gasped, lungsburning, fingers flexing, mine, slender, unscared. Lydia's body, chilled from the slab but vital, humming with reclaimed fire. Victor groaned opposite, his old frame convulsing as consciousness slotted home. We stared, mirrors reversed. "It's done," Vasquez murmured, unplugging. But as Ethan hugged me, fierce, forgiving, the door splintered. Feds, badges flashing, Tessa's doing her last gambit from lockup. "Lydia Hargrove, you're under arrest for fraud, assault, conspiracy to commit murder." Twist. They traced the offshore funds, pinned the swap as extortion. Victor blinked, confusion to calculation. Officers, she's not herself. Betrayal 2.0. My mercy gift? His payback play. The cuffs bit cold into my wrists, Lydia's wrists, delicate as porcelain teacups, now iron-bound like a common pickpocket's. Federal Plaza's holding cell reeked of bleach and broken dreams, the fluorescent buzz drilling into my skull like a bad hangover from Prohibition speakeasies. Ethan paced the corridor beyond the bars, lawyered up with a family retainer, but his pleas, "This is bullshit, Mom. Hang tight," echoed hollow. Victor? Nowhere. The rat had lawyered separately, spinning tales of duress to the feds, painting me as the unhinged avenger who'd kidnapped his identity. Tessa's fingerprints all over it, even from Riker's. Her arraignment postponed on health grounds, hysteria, they claimed, but I'd bet my Warhol she had a guard in pocket, piping updates to her fixer. Power like hers didn't rust in chains. It corroded everything else. Interrogations blurred into a Kafkaesque loop, G-men in off-rack suits grilling me on the clinic, the patents, the body theft. "Ms. Hargrove, you admit to neural manipulation without consent? That's not revenge. That's a RICO violation." I lawyered silent, smirking inwardly. Controversial? This was peak American theater. Tech bro hubris meets true crime podcast gold. Cable news looped the Hargrove horror, pundits debating if I was Joan of Arc or Jigsaw. Swap or flop memes flooded feeds, half the country cheering the wife's wrath, the other decrying feminist Frankenstein. Ethan bailed me out at dawn. $2 mill vaporized, his face gaunt as a runway model's. "Dad's testifying against you. Says you forced the swap. Threatened exposure." We slid into the Lincoln, paparazzi flashbulbs popping like gunfire. "Why, Mom? After everything?" Traffic snarled on the FDR, East River churning gray. "Because he's scared, kid. Of jail, of losing the agency, of facing what he let happen." I rubbed my temples, my real ones, ache-free. But Tessa? She's the serpent. Victor's just the garden. He merged hard, horn blaring at a cabbie. "And you? What are you now, savior or psycho?" The question landed like a gut punch, forcing the mirror. I'd crossed into gray, where revenge's thrill curdled to obsession. Swapping back felt like victory, but the cost? Ethan's trust fracturing, Victor's grudge festering. In this land of second acts, was redemption just another hustle? We regrouped at a safe house in the Hamptons, Daddy's old compound, oceanfront bunker with panic rooms and a wine cellar deep as regrets. Vasquez joined, laptop humming with encrypted drops. Tessa's comms intercepted, frantic bids to flip witnesses. "She's offering immunity deals," the doc said, coffee black as her mood. "Claims you orchestrated the poisoning to frame her. Gaslighting gold." I paced the great room, waves crashing like accusations. We counter. Leak the prenup, the one she forged, siphoning Ethan's trust. And Victor's affair logs, GPS pings from their business trips to the Keys. Ethan balked. That's nuking Dad. He's family. Family that sold me out.
Voice rose raw.
I rotted in Alderson for her screw-up, embezzling client funds to bail her firm, then pinning the audit on me. Victor knew, signed off. That's not family. That's felony. Silence stretched, broken by a sigh.
Fine.
But no more swaps, no more mad science. We do this legal. Legal. Cute, in a country where justice bowed to the highest bidder. Tessa's trial kicked off in Foley Square, a circus of suits and stenos. I took the stand as victim, detailing the lacing, the bitter aftertaste in my morning brew, the clinic scramble as blackout loomed. She wanted me gone, I said, eyes locked on her across the well. Tessa, composed in Chanel, met my gaze with ice, smug, unbowed, her team painting her as the devoted stepdaughter, gaslit by a delusional matriarch. Victor testified midweek, his old frame slouched in the box, looking every day of his sins. Lydia. She was unstable. The swap? Coerce me into it, said it'd fix us. Gasps from the gallery. Ethan, beside me, went rigid. Lies, slick as oiled palms, but the jury ate it. Sympathy for the henpecked hubby. Recess hit like a sucker punch. In the hall, Victor cornered me, breath hot with mints, masking bourbon. Drop the leaks, LYD. Or I bury you with the rest. I laughed low. Bury me? You already did, twice. Pushed past, but his whisper trailed. Ask your boy about the accident. Ethan? The drive back to the Hamptons crawled, thunderheads brewing. What accident, kiddo? He white-knuckled the wheel, merging onto 495. Dad's bluff. Old stuff, your release from Alderson the night we picked you up. Slippery roads, hydroplaned into a guardrail.
He said.
You blamed Tessa for it. Swore revenge then.
Bullshit meter spiked.
I'd crashed solo. Post-prison haze, no passengers. But Ethan's flinch said otherwise.
Ethan.
Truth. Tires hummed, miles ticking. Okay. Tessa was there, driving. Dad covered, said it was you behind the wheel. She was wasted, Mom. Nearly killed us all.
Bombshell.
The secret buried deeper. Not just my frame job, but a near-fatal cover-up. Ethan silenced by family loyalty. Rage boiled, white-hot. And you kept that? For her? For peace, he yelled, veering onto shoulder gravel. You were broken after jail, therapy, pills. Didn't want to shatter you more.
Tears now, messy.
I love you, Mom. But this, the swap, the trials, it's destroying us. Pullover epiphany, revenge's collateral, the innocent shredded. Controversial choice loomed. Pull the plug on the vendetta. Let Tessa skate for a plea. Salvage the shards? Or double down, expose Victor's complicity, risk losing Ethan forever? Night fell, estate lights winking like conspirators. Vasquez waited with dossiers. Tessa's latest, a bribe to the bailiff, $50,000 wire. She's desperate. One push, she cracks. I stared at the surf, froth like rage foam.
Push.
Next day, court erupted. My cross-exam of Victor. Tell the jury about the crash, Vic Tessa's hands on the wheel, your lies to the cops. He stammered, sweat beading. The DA objected, but the seed planted, doubt, delicious. Tessa cracked on redirect, her poise fracturing. It was an accident. Victor made me. Sustained but damage done. Jury deliberated 3 days, Hampton's siege lifting only for grocery runs under alias. Ethan and I rebuilt tentative beach walks, no tech, just talk. I should have told you, he admitted, skipping stones. But fear's a hell of a drug. Fear's what she peddled, I replied. We're clean now. Verdict dropped like a guillotine. Guilty, all counts, murder 1, fraud, conspiracy. Tessa shrieked, hauled off an orange, her empire ash. Victor? Plea bargained down to accessory, 5 years white collar, emerging a ghost. But the twist coiled tighter. Post-sentencing, Ethan vanished, text. Needs space. Love you. Days stretched to week, panic gnawing. Vasquez traced pings. A Fleabag motel in Atlantic City. Victor's credit ghosting. I drove down solo. Boardwalk neon blurring through tears. Room 212. Door ajar, voices, Ethan's pleading, Victor's, paternal poison. Son, your mother's poison. The swap proved it, selfish, controlling. Walk away, like I should've. Ethan, packing a duffel.
Dad, stop.
She's fighting for us. For her grudges. Victor's eyes met mine in the doorway, triumphant. Tell him the real secret, LYD. The one you buried deeper than my mind in that freezer. Heart stuttered. What's secret? He smirked, Tessa's echo. The affair? Started before the frame job. You knew, hinted, even encouraged it.
Loneliness, you said.
Keep him occupied. Then, when it suited, you flipped the script. The poisoning? Your idea, whispered to her in a drunken rage. Make it look like suicide. She took it literal. Lies? Or buried truth? Flashes. Gin-soaked nights, my words slurred. If he cheats, cheat death. Had I manipulated the manipulator?
Etensert, bait-dropping.
Mom. Denial surged, but doubt, that insidious American vice, took root. The real reversal. Not Tessa's villainy, but my own, mirrored in the betrayal chain. Atlantic City's salt wind whipped off the bay like a slap, the motel's neon sign flickering vacancy, like a bad omen from a Springsteen dirge. I stood frozen in the doorway. Victor's smirk a knife twist. Ethan's eyes, those trusting browns I'd wiped snot from since he was 6, now fractured prisms of doubt. Tell him, Lydia, how you played us all. Puppet master in pearls. My mouth went cotton dry, pulse thundering in Lydia's reclaimed ears. He's lying, Ethan. Gaslighting like always. But the room spun, memories bubbling unbidden. That boozy summit in the brownstone library, Tessa cornered post-affair discovery. End it, I'd hissed, glass trembling. Or I expose you both, ruin Ethan's life too. Her laugh then defiant. You destroy your own boy? And my slip, venom-laced. Better broken than betrayed. Make Victor pay slow like he did me. Poison words, literal spark? Ethan backed up, chair scraping linoleum.
Mom.
Did you? No, God, no. But Victor pounced, voice oily. Ask the maid, saw you slipping her the baggies, vitamins for your coffee routine. Shared the ritual, right, Tess? The web tightened, my own thread strangling. Had I? Post-prison paranoia, yes. I'd toyed with revenge fantasies, even sourced fentanyl from a dealer in Hell's Kitchen, just in case. But use it? On myself, staging a suicide to frame them? The swap idea born from that haze. Vasquez's clinic a desperate pivot. Ethan's phone buzzed. Vasquez, timing impeccable. Check the logs, I urged, snatching it. Clinic prelims, my consult pre-poisoning. Defensive measures only. He scrolled, face paling. Holy shit. Timestamp. You booked the transfer weeks before the first symptoms. Dad, she planned this. Victor's grin faltered. Coincidence. She manipulated. Enough. Ethan roared. Boy to man in a heartbeat. Both of you, toxic as hell. I'm out. He grabbed the bag, shouldered past, leaving us in stunned tableau. The drive back was purgatory. Ethan ghosting calls, Victor slinking to his casino comps like a bad habit. Hampton's isolation amplified the echo. Was I the architect, not the victim? Betrayal's Mobius strip, twisting back on itself. Controversial denouement, America's favorite. The anti-hero unmasked. Redemption a coin flip. Vasquez confirmed over encrypted video. Your consult? Exploratory. But the fentanyl trace in your system predated Tessa's access. Self-administered, low-dose perhaps. Experimental? Sick realization. I dosed myself, testing the suicide ploy, blurring lines in a haze of hurt. Tessa escalated it. Victor enabled, but the seed?
Mine.
The crime I'd suffered for them? Self-inflicted scaffold. Trial's endgame loomed, appeals, countersuits. Tessa's team subpoenaed the clinic, demanding neural forensics. Victor countersued for identity theft, seeking damages to bankrupt me.
Ethan?
Radio silence, a week turning to 2, his Insta frozen on a beach selfie captioned, "Finding North." I cracked then, alone in Daddy's study, waves mocking. Scotch burned familiar. Victor's vice, now mine. Dialed Ethan, voicemail my confessor. "Kiddo, the truth's uglier than lies. I didn't start the fire, but I fanned it. Forgive? Maybe not. But fight, for you, not grudges."
Click.
Dawn brought clarity, brutal as black coffee. Revenge's climax wasn't cuffs or verdicts, it was surrender. I met Victor at neutral ground, a diner off the turnpike, Formica scarred as our vows. "Truce," I said, sliding docs across. "Drop the suit." I released the affair tapes. Full context, your complicity. Tessa rots. We co-parent Ethan from afar. He scanned, Adam's apple bobbing. Why now? Because winning alone tastes like ash.
Pause.
And you're the devil I know. He signed, hands steady.
Fair. But the boy?
He's done with us both. Weeks ground to months, appeals grinding Tessa's sentence to 20 to life, no parole. Victor decamped to Florida. Agency sold for scraps, a cautionary tale in trade rags.
Me?
I reclaimed the gallery life, curating identity fractured, shows on body art, neural ethics, drawing crowds who whispered, "Is that her?" Ethan resurfaced Labor Day, text crisp. Coffee? Neutral. We met at a Tribeca spot, his beard fuller, eyes wary but warm. "Therapy," he said, stirring oat milk. Turns out, family's a contact sport, bruises included. Forgive the bruises? I ventured, heart in throat. Not yet, but trying.
Smile craqued, tentative.
You're still mom. Flawed as fuck, but mine. Relief flooded, bittersweet. No tidy bow, twists reversal left scars, debatable endings, villain redeemed, or just repackaged. In America's grand drama, where revenge flicks end on ambiguous fades, we muddled forward. Dinners tentative, holidays hashed out like treaties. One night, post-opening at the gallery, critics raving, raw, unflinching. Ethan lingered, champagne flute in hand. Heard from Dad? He's got cancer, pancreatic, stage 4. The gut punch landed soft, almost expected. How bad? Months. Wants to see you. I nodded, old reflexes stirring. Not hate, but the ghost of care.
Tell him.
Road trip. One last swap of stories, not souls. As we hugged goodbye, Manhattan pulsed eternal, hustle, heartbreak, horizons. Revenge?
A chapter closed. Uama fog.
But in the tension's wake, space for light, a son's hand in mine, a city's second chances. Debatable victory, happy, tragic, or just human. You decide.